Unbelievable as it may sound, behind this angelic face hides a hardened criminal. There's nothing in her soft, delicate appearance to suggest that she has spent 4 long years inside a women's prison in Russia. Today, she is skilled at operating sewing machines, raising cows and pigs, and even cleaning animal waste. These gentle hands are now responsible for the dirtiest jobs, but this harsh labor is part of the prison's so-called rehabilitation process. Anyone who breaks the rules is shown no mercy by the guards' brutal punishment or confinement in a dark isolation cell, is the response. This women's prison is located in the freezing climate of the Ural Mountains. Nearly 420 inmates are held here. Many of them are shockingly beautiful, but their criminal records are terrifying: shoplifting, armed robbery, murder, arson, drug trafficking. Almost no crime is missing from the list. Yet once inside these walls, those once fearsome women become obedient and disciplined. At exactly 6:30 in the morning, everyone wakes up. No complaints, no laziness. Standing on snow-covered ground, in temperatures as low as -8 degrees Celsius, they perform regular physical exercise. Following the instructor's commands, they train their bodies for half an hour. Is this tradition here? Anyone who is physically able must take part. The prison is run by a 42-year-old warden with over 2 decades of experience. He says understanding the minds of female inmates is far more difficult than dealing with men, but claims he can tell instantly just by looking into someone's eyes whether they're thinking about escaping. High walls, razor wire, female guards everywhere, and highly trained guard dogs together create an almost impenetrable security system. Prisoners are counted 2 to 3 times a day, making escape nearly impossible. After exercise, everyone lines up and heads to the canteen. Breakfast consists of bread and cheese, all made by the inmates themselves. After meals, every plate and utensil is carefully inspected to ensure nothing can be used as a weapon. Then they change into their plain cotton uniforms and march in lines to their assigned workplaces. Some operate sewing machines, some work on the farm raising livestock, others are assigned to the kitchen. To prevent drugs or weapons from entering through food supplies, inmates are only allowed to eat bread produced inside the prison. Victoria is just 18 years old and works in the prison bakery. Despite her young age, she has been breathing prison air for 4 years. When asked about her crime, she quietly explains, her eyes both gentle and sad, that one day her mother's new partner assaulted her mother. While trying to protect her, Victoria unintentionally caused the man's death. Because she was a minor, she was sentenced to 6 years in a juvenile correction facility that holds around 200 young female inmates. Then there is Nazia, 30 years old, known as a model inmate. She is currently serving her 3rd sentence, 6 years for drug trafficking. Most of the 80 inmates in her section are repeat offenders, and more than half are imprisoned for drug-related crimes. Once Nastia was a powerful figure in the criminal underworld, controlling much of the drug trade in the Ural region, with influence reaching as far as Moscow. Today, that former queen of crime silently works in a sewing factory, producing jackets and coats every day. These are sold through a local clothing company. Her monthly income is around 3,000 rubles, roughly $40 US. She keeps 1/4 for herself and sends the rest to her parents and her 13-year-old son. Nastia has now realized that fame and money are temporary, but peace is priceless. Instead of fear, her days are now filled with following rules, going to work on time, and treating guards with respect. She even participates in cultural programs, earning praise from the warden. Among her fellow inmates is her former associate Tatiana. With her green eyes and innocent smile, she was once Nastia's right-hand partner. Despite coming from a wealthy family, she fell into the drug trade at just 18 due to peer influence. At one time, her monthly income was around 500 rubles, about $600, huge sum for their region. Compared to sewing or bakery work, farm labor is far more demanding. All day long, inmates clean animal waste, prepare feed, collect milk, assist in breeding, and endure unbearable odors. But they know the meat from these animals will eventually be used in supplies for the country's military. For those who break the rules, a terrifying punishment awaits: solitary confinement. These isolation cells are located in the prison basement. In a dark space of just 8 square meters, up to 4 inmates can be held at once. Every piece of furniture at the table, chairs, and beds is bolted to the floor. During the day, even the beds had folded up. Inside are 2 old lockers, a sink, and a squat toilet. It is a living symbol of punishment. Guard Andre says sudden inspections are carried out from time to time, and clashes do sometimes occur. However, good behavior is rewarded. Inmates who follow the rules are allowed family visits once every 3 months. These meeting rooms are surprisingly comfortable. 2 beds, a separate kitchen and bathroom, a refrigerator, TV, microwave, and all basic necessities. If they comply with regulations, inmates can spend up to 3 days here with their families. Across Russia, there are 35 women's prisons holding around 60,000 female inmates. By law, no woman can be sentenced to more than 20 years. Women are given certain basic accommodations that are much stricter for male inmates. In contrast, men's prisons like Fire Island Penitentiary or the infamous Black Dolphin Prison are known for conditions beyond extreme. So why is there such a stark difference between how male and female inmates are treated in Russia's prison system? Share your thoughts in the comments. That's all for today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next one. This prisoner was sentenced to life in prison for armed robbery, but after spending 3 long years behind bars, he discovered a devastating truth that would change everything. He had been wrongfully convicted. What makes this story even more shocking is that even after a judge officially ruled in his favor and ordered his release, the prison authorities still refused to let him go. If desperation could be measured on a scale from 1 to 10, this situation would undoubtedly be a 10. This is not a fictional movie plot or a dramatized series. It is a real story that unfolded in Haiti, one of the poorest countries in the Western Hemisphere. In this video, we step inside Haiti's nightmarish prison system to uncover how justice fails thousands of innocent people every single day. Haiti remains trapped in extreme poverty, driven by decades of corruption and government indifference, where only about 20% of the population has access to clean drinking water, and most citizens survive on less than $2 a day. A journalist named Harold traveled to the National Penitentiary in Port-au-Prince, the largest prison in the country, holding over 4,000 inmates. While some prisoners were guilty, the majority were ordinary citizens who had been arrested without proper evidence and left to rot in overcrowded cells. The prison was suffocating and filthy, so much so that Harold struggled to breathe within minutes of entering. The inmates' faces revealed deep exhaustion and hopelessness, yet seeing an outsider gave them a rare sense of hope. They told Harold they were innocent and begged for freedom, explaining that they were locked in their cells for 23 hours a day with barely edible food and almost no medical care. Many inmates depended on family members to bring food, but countless families didn't even know their loved ones had been imprisoned. Living conditions were beyond inhumane, with 60 prisoners forced into cells meant for far fewer people and only a handful of beds available, leaving many to sleep on the floor. Some prisoners, crushed by despair, ended their own lives. Harold became their voice, secretly receiving handwritten notes and drawings from inmates who couldn't read or write. Many had been imprisoned for 10 years or more without ever standing before a judge, meaning they were never legally convicted at all. One man described being arrested while buying vegetables at a market, taken without explanation, and forgotten for 7 years. Although Haitian law requires detainees to see a judge within 48 hours, the justice system is so overwhelmed that this rarely happens. The prison was designed for 1,000 inmates, but now holds 4 times that number, with only 500 officially convicted and the rest waiting endlessly for trial. Courthouses destroyed by earthquakes were never fully restored. Judges were often absent, and cases piled up in chaotic handwritten archives. Amid this darkness, a lawyer named Paul emerged as a rare source of hope, fighting the corrupt system for over a decade and helping free dozens of innocent prisoners. In one case, he proved that 2 men accused of murder were innocent because the alleged victim had died from illness, yet they had already lost 5 years of their lives. Prison conditions continued to claim lives, with disease spreading rapidly due to overcrowding and lack of sanitation. Many prisoners would never live long enough to hear a verdict, and even those declared innocent often remained trapped because they couldn't afford bribes to process paperwork. One such man, Lonnie, was cleared of all charges but remained imprisoned because he couldn't pay a court clerk to release his documents. Though journalists and lawyers attempted to intervene, protests, transfers, and bureaucracy erased any progress. Still, small victories occurred when dedicated individuals fought back. proving that even in one of the world's most broken justice systems, hope refuses to die.